Hey guys, this week's video is going to be a little bit different. I have two videos that I'm currently in the process of editing, but in the meantime I wanted to put this one out. It's an idea that I've had for a while and something that I've been collecting clips for a couple months now, and I think I'm finally ready to put it together. This is our top 5 axe throwing characters throughout all forms of media. I couldn't make an axe throwing character list without having at least one dwarf on here. First on our list is Gimli, son of Gloin. Gimli is by far one of the most well-known dwarves and carries with him an arsenal of axes, including 2 smaller hatchets, 2 medium-sized axes for dual wielding, and his battle axe that he likely obtained in the mines of Moria, as it was not pictured prior to those scenes. Gimli is a master in axe combat and will absolutely destroy most enemies that put themselves within chopping distance. Within the stories we got to follow Gimli through, he was almost always on the move, making it difficult for him to carry a large number of axes, meaning that if he throws one, he's going to have to recover it. When you're on a long epic quest that you aren't sure how long it's going to take, it makes sense to not want to throw your weapon. Because of this, we really only got to see Gimli throw his axe 3 times throughout the entire series. In the mines of Moria, the group is cornered by a large number of orcs and a cave troll. As the cave troll is charging at Gimli, in a moment of desperation he releases a one-handed axe throw that pierces the chest of the beast. The axe lands perfectly and has no problem piercing through the beast's thick hide. While this is not a good display of his accuracy, it does show that even in the most desperate of moments, when the pressure is on, he can release his axe and get it to stick without any issue. Imagine what he could do with a moment to collect his thoughts and no giant death beasts charging at him. I have a feeling he could teach us a thing or two. Of course, this list also had to include a Viking. Number 4 on our list is Ragnar Lothbrok from the television show Vikings, and I guess history. Ragnar is a fierce warrior who has no problem tossing his axe when he sees an opportunity for a ranged kill. Throughout the entire series of Vikings, only one of his axes failed to kill its target, and that was because someone else jumped in the way. Ragnar is a master of the two-handed and one-handed throw, making him deadly no matter what the situation is. The force of his axes making contact with their targets always puts them on their asses or instantly kills them. Something tells me we would go through a lot of wood if we were throwing with Ragnar. His accuracy with his axes is unmatched by any other warrior on the show. When he wants to hit you in the head, he does. And when he wants to pierce the armor on your chest and avoid your head because you're wearing a helmet, he does. Not to mention, he is a master of distraction. Just listen to this incredibly accurate impression of a chicken. How could this guy not look over and check it out? One of the main things that makes Ragnar so deadly is his ability to switch between melee and ranged combat. He is trained with just about every weapon the Vikings have at their disposal, and can take down anyone he faces in one-on-one combat, and then move right on to the next person, constantly scanning the battlefield for his next throwing axe victim. No one makes use of throwing axe in combat quite like Ragnar Lothbrok. The thing that makes Ragnar so cool is that he's an actual historical figure. Something tells me the real-life version was even fiercer than the version we get to see on the History Channel. I'm glad I'll never have to find out. The third character on our list is unique because I couldn't just pick one of his roles to give him credit for. This guy clearly has a love for axe throwing because if he's not doing it with a beer in his hand at a local axe spot or on Jimmy Kimmel Live, he's throwing in one of his shows. That's right, number 3 on our list is Jason Momoa. Jason has been a face of the axe throwing community since a YouTube video was posted of him drinking a beer and then throwing a huge axe directly into the bullseye, while still holding the beer. He then appeared on Jimmy Kimmel to advertise his new show Frontier, where he plays Declan Hart, an outlaw trapper who's always carrying multiple axes and never hesitates to throw them at his enemies. Declan is a smart character who's good at avoiding capture, but also gets lost in his rage when his family or friends' lives are on the line, a theme common with Momoa's characters. In Momoa's latest movie, he plays a logging company owner and family man, Joe Braven. Braven is an extremely smart character, constantly setting traps and waiting for the right moment to strike. In this specific scene, he's hiding from a mercenary up in the rafters of the house, knowing the double-bit axe he has is a bit too big to throw at such a short distance. He snaps it over his leg and then proceeds to throw it directly into the man's forehead. Bullseye! Braven, like all of Momoa's characters, is a badass when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, and would give most of the other guys on this list a serious fight up close. It seems that Jason Momoa may just be picking his roles nowadays based on if he gets to practice his axe throwing skills during shooting. He clearly loves throwing his weapon, even if it's not an axe. I personally can't wait to see what the guy does next, and chances are, we're gonna see him throwing something. So I know in our past videos, I've told you to stay out of your own head when throwing. For number 2 on our list, that is completely impossible. Krieg the Psycho was introduced to the first-person shooter game Borderlands 2 in 2013. His cinematic was the first time you ever got a look inside the head of one of the game's toughest enemies, the Psycho.
Hey, remember back when we were sane?
She can taste the bloody hatred!
Guess not. Still can't hear me, can you? Little voice in your head trying to remind you of a time when we could go hours, days even, without screaming about our desire to ride bicycles made of meat. I don't even know.
Krieg is no ordinary psycho, though. There's clearly some deep backstory to this guy that led to him becoming what we see today. A backstory that has really still not been revealed to us. All we know is that Krieg was experimented on by Hyperion, turning him into a psycho, but still trapping a small part of his sane mind in his head, something revealed to us in this trailer. Krieg is clearly trying desperately to do the right thing. He's just lost his ability to express himself in sentences that don't involve poop trains or salting the wound. But damn, can this guy throw an axe. Krieg uses his signature buzzsaw axe to not only chop up enemies at melee distance, but to throw at pretty much an unlimited range. The guy has perfect accuracy and throws exactly where he's aiming, no matter how far the axe needs to go. He also seems to have an unlimited supply of axes. He never really questions where these axes come from, he just keeps throwing them into dudes' heads. Krieg's special ability in the game is what puts him into a rage and allows him to pull out his axe and start to chop up dudes or throw at any range. His axes can also be modified to do explosive or fire damage. Let's keep him away from the NATF targets. It might end badly. Overall, Krieg is a total badass who is as deadly up close as he is at a range. The scariest part about him is that if you actually do manage to kill him, you know he's just going to respawn at a nearby New You station and come back for you. There truly is no escaping Krieg and his buzz axe.
I powdered my cockatiel for the ribcage slaughter.
Before we go to the number 1 on our list, let's take a look at some of our runner-up characters. First up is Rory Mercury from the anime Gate. She's a demigoddess and an apostle of the god of death. While she may look like a 13-year-old girl, she wields a giant halberd, showing no mercy for her opponents. She's immune to most forms of physical damage as her body can heal all wounds. The only thing that kept her from making it high up on this list is the fact that she never really throws her axe. She's so quick, she honestly doesn't need to. The next runner-up is Ollie from Banner Saga 2. This axe-throwing character is introduced pretty early in the second Banner Saga game, a game which is essentially Oregon Trail set in a fantasy world with an epic story. When you meet him, he's already drunk, which is very fitting for being an axe thrower. His special ability, Axe Storm, allows him to throw axes at opponents until the attack is either deflected or his opponent is dead. While he's proven to be a very strong axe thrower, we just don't know that much about him, and I didn't have enough info to see how he would stack up against the other people on this list. Of course, after seeing the other week's Walking Dead episode, I had to throw Rick on here. He uses an axe gang, which is something that a lot of NATF people use. And while it doesn't make sense to throw your axe much unless you have multiple, Rick still took the risk to throw his weapon at Negan during their fight. If he hadn't have jumped off to the side, this would have been a definite kill shot. And now on to number 1. Number 1 on our list is a character that I have loved since I played the first game on my friend's PS2. To see this character make his return to console, and this time as an axe thrower, I honestly could not contain my excitement. My coworker asked if I was okay after hearing my reaction to the newest trailer. Yep, that's right. Number 1 on our list is of course none other than the Slayer of Mount Olympus, the Ghost of Sparta, the God of War, Kratos. He's back, and this time he's taking on some creatures from Norse mythology. So of course he had to get himself a magical axe. His new weapon, the Leviathan axe, is essentially the Mjolnir of axes. He can call it back at any time, and it returns directly to his hand, something that I think all of us axe throwers wish we could do. With this new weapon and the years of training he's likely had since he took down every single god on Mount Olympus, make him pretty much unbeatable. The axe can be modified, giving Kratos access to new abilities and allowing him to inflict magical status effects on anyone who makes contact with his blade. While a lot of the characters on our list are great hand-to-hand combatants, no one could even come close to stacking up against Kratos. Remember that time he beat Zeus to death with his bare hands? He also has a new Spartan Rage ability, which sends him into an uncontrollable rage, punching anything that might get in his way. Also, part of his weapon arsenal is Collapsible Shield. This shield allows him to throw his axe with one hand and then shield bash with the other while he waits for his axe to return. These are just the weapons we know about too. I'm sure when the game releases in a couple days, we'll see just how incredibly overpowered Kratos has become. Do I really need to do more to explain why no one on this list could stand a chance against Kratos? Being the only character to ever successfully kill a god, and having access to his ridiculously diverse arsenal of weapons, puts Kratos at a tier none of these dudes could ever touch. If you ever managed to get close to him, you would end up regretting it very fast. I'm sure Strawn Riley might be able to give him a run for his money when it comes to the NATF. We just might have to add something in the rules that says you can't freeze your opponent during match play. It would be a hell of a match to watch.
Can you kill something that big?
Alright, so what do you guys think of the list? Do you agree the order that I put these dudes in? Did I miss anyone good? I honestly wanted to include a female character in this list, but there really aren't that many out there that throw their axe. Comment down below and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the other videos coming out this month.